Hello and welcome back to Speed Demon Painting. Today we are taking a look at the Scions of Jutland box set, which was kindly sent to me by Warcradle Studios for review. These sets of course normally come shrink wrapped, but I've removed that ahead of the review and I'm taking off the sleeve right now. Now concerning the sleeve, there is actually one thing that you have to keep in mind. There is a small mistake on it. In the main picture it shows the Valhalla build as shown here, which is completely correct. However, the Sheldon build is one that is different and has a different back piece to it. The build instructions that come in this set are correct though, but there is a small mistake on the sleeve. Don't build it like that. Apart from that, this set makes a bunch of different new ships available to the Scandinavians in a new plastic sprue that is also introduced in it, along with two giant Kili robots called the Einherjar. If you're buying one of these larger sets, they come with fully detailed build instructions as well on them, which is quite handy because normally you would find the buildings instructions online. You can still find them there if you want them or ever lose this booklet, but it's quite handy to have it in print in this box as well. And as you can see here, the Sheldon does have the correct build part mentioned in the instruction set, so it can be part aerial platform to repair flyers that get shot down. Now for full disclosure, I have gotten this box set as a review copy from Warcradle Studios, but I like the contents of it so much that I've ordered it twice as well for myself. I do want to make every single flagship option that is in this set, but for this particular box I will be starting out with the mercenary ship, the Sheldon, just so I'm able to add that to any of my fleet rosters really. And I imagine that is quite a popular build for those who buy this set specifically for mercenary purposes. If you're using this box as the mercenaries, you can actually include some of the big stompy robots in your force in the form of the Einherjar Vitruvian Colossus, which is sort of the Scandinavian version of the Ho. Right then, with the build instructions set out of the way, let's go and have a look at what can be found in this box. And the first thing that we will find are bases. There are two types of plastic bases to mount the Einherjar on, and there's a set of 4 smaller bases which should support the Valkyrie rotors that come in this set. You also get a bunch of different SRS bases because this box also introduces the Valley submarine tokens as well. In terms of resin bags, you get 2 of them. The first one is the trickiest one to open obviously, but these contain the smaller parts that are going to be used by the Einherjars on there. The first one is one that has the headpiece on it from the Einherjar, along with the big imposing axe that it wields, the melee weapon as well. These are 2-part molds, so you do have to take care of removing some of the mold lines that can be found on there, but they really weren't too bad in this particular set that I got, so a bit of light scraping should do, and of course you get your second version of those as well. Apart from that, there's a second type of sprue for the Einherjar that basically swaps out some armor panels from the plastic sprues from the Hochmeister set with these resin parts, and I will be going over which ones those are when we're looking at the plastic sets. If you like these types of reviews and you want to see more content like this in the future, remember to hit the thumbs up button and subscribe to the channel for any future videos. A small little note, this box only came with a single set of flight stems, so if you like the look of those thin, straight ones, you're out of luck if you want to use it for both of your Valkyrie rotors. You're going to have to use the bendy ones, or you're going to have to find another straight one from another project or somebody who plays Dystopian Wars as well. For the flagship resins, the first sprue we're looking at are the different platforms that are mostly used to the Asgard rotor but can also be used on the Sheldon. These do all have a different bottom part, so you can't just connect any of them anywhere. You have to be specific with where you place them. The main hull itself is, as always, a very nice cast. It is a one-piece mold, so only really you get any flashing / mold lines at the bottom of the ship, which can be quite easily repaired or removed with a hobby knife. The other part is mostly supporting parts for the platforms, if you want to use the Asgard rotor, and then of course there are the Valley midget subs that you use on the back end of it. For the front we have the second Sturmbringer that goes on there, along with the 2 flanking parts that make up that Valley launcher set, and this is the bit that is used on the Sheldon and on the Asgard. It has some absolutely lovely detail on there, however that gets mostly covered by the platform, When assembling this model, I actually just kept it off that platform, didn't glue it down yet, so I can actually get to some of that detail more easily, and I'm just holding it in with some blue tack. In terms of the citadel, the bridge of the ship, there are two different variants. That one comes with the option to attach that platform onto, and just this small bit that will need to go on there before you can do so. And if you want to use the gunboat version, you use the other bridge for this ship. The parts for the holding up the different platforms will have to go and slide over your broadsides, as you can see here, so that's a bit of detailing that will get covered up. And if you're willing to magnetize the whole thing, you are going to have to keep into account that you're going to have to bend a bit on the different resin parts. When looking at the plastic sprues, you will find two different sets of frontline plastic sprues that we know from the original Reaver sets from the Scandinavians. You can make two Hoths out of this set, which is pretty good because they are now excellent escorts for your main flagships rule-wise, with their new advanced storm coils, and they come with quite a few different front ends that you can use, like this one for the Jotun, the other one for the Odin, and then there's that smaller part for the Gugni Reaver as well. The fun thing about it is I've been experimenting with them, and yeah, they interchange quite well with the new sprue, so you can actually make a bunch of different ships that don't necessarily have rules, but if you want to make your own house rules for them, you totally can by combining these two sets. Other than that, there are different weapon systems found on here as well. Some generators, although not all of them on the Scandinavian sprue. It's the shroud generator, the magnetic, and the shield generator, along with the Langsam one. So there's a few missing, such as the Fury one, but they come on the new plastic sets, as we'll see soon, so it's not the end of the world. You get two heavy volt gun batteries, and those are supposed to be used on the flagship as well. And then two very important weapons are the smaller ones, of which you only get one of each type, the Sturmklaue and the volt gun battery. Definitely do not lose these parts, as they can be interchanged on some of the newer platforms as well, and as we'll see when discussing that set, it doesn't come with any of those small weapon systems on there, so they are quite valuable. Next up we have the set for the Hochmeisters. You get two of the plastic sprues on there. Now the Hochmeisters come with the large weapons, either the large Kranzerslagmaler or the Zweihander, but you will not be using those, you'll be swapping those out for that resin axe that we've seen at the start of the video. Apart from that, the main front plate of the Colossus will have to be changed with the resin bit as well. If you're new to this, if you want to combine plastics, usually you use plastic cement, which is something that melts your plastic and sort of bonds it together that way. It's a very strong bond. But if you want to join resin parts with plastic parts, you will need to use some super glue as well. And this happens for both the leg armor panels and the two on the shoulder pads as well, which have to be replaced with resin parts to make the Einherjar. Combining resin and plastic parts is not exactly the easiest thing, so make sure you do a lot of dry fitting before you commit to applying any super glue, because it is quite unforgiving. And next up, the two new sprues, the support sprues, or at least that is what I think they will be called. They come with the escort tokens in general for the normal ones, the non-flying ones for the Imperium, along with two Fenrir submarines that also have the Prussian keyword, by the way, so you'll have plenty of them, making sure that you can paint them up in Prussian colors and Scandinavian ones. You also get 4 regular rocket batteries on this sprue, but no volt gun batteries or Sturmklaue like I mentioned before, and the Fury generator is included on this set as well, along with a shroud generator. On top of that, there is also a Langsam generator, and there are of course the different submarine tokens launched by the Valhalla or the Angerboda. It also comes with a Freya array that is used on, if I'm not mistaken, the Sheldon. There are also some bespoke weapon systems on there, apart from the 2 heavy rocket batteries that can be used for many of the different rocket builds in the Orbat. The 2 bespoke parts are the rocket batteries that can be found on the Valkyrie Huntrotor. Now they operate as a single heavy rocket battery, or in the case of the Sturmklaue, a single heavy Sturmklaue, because apparently a pilot cannot deviate the weapons to different targets, they all have to be shot at the same one. Now they go onto this massive hull, of which you get 1, and they can be magnetized, but I did have to revert to using some of my smallest 1mm magnets to do so. For the back parts, you can have the Valley submarine tokens as well for the Angerbo that go on here. But there is also this platform which is used on the Gifjon. I really liked the detailing on it. It had these small little barrels on there and these crates to really have it be a merchantman vehicle as well. On top of that, you get the heavy weapon platform that can go into the back, and that can take a bunch of different generators as well, including this special one which is used on the Heimdall, where that part combines with the radar dish that I'm trying to look up now. There we go, that's the radar dish that needs to go onto that part to sort of have a scouting vehicle that guides all of those new heavy rocket batteries found in this plastic set. Overall though, I was incredibly impressed with the quality of these plastics. When the frontline squadron came out for the Scandinavians, Warcradle did make a bit of a jump up in terms of detailing and just sharpness of the different parts, and that is continued on this set. They are completely interchangeable as well, which was nice to see. And overall, this new support sprue had a lot less small finicky parts compared to the frontline sprue, so they managed to make it a lot more enjoyable to assemble. Speaking of assembly, I have gone ahead and made the Sheldon, the named variant of it. The back part, like I said, I just put down with a bit of blue tack, so I can more easily get to the inside of that detailing, which will make it easier, and I'm just removing it now. A small note though is I've magnetized the weapons, even though it's a unique ship, but I'm glad I didn't glue it down yet, because these are the gun batteries that come on the frontline sprue from the Scandinavians, and they've got this much sleeker, straight design when you put them up. However, I found out during assembly that it looks a bit weird, because you've got one gun battery just poking in the back of the other one. So I've gone and dug up my old Gen 1 Prussian heavy gun batteries, because they are slightly more angled compared to those, and that just looks slightly better when you've actually got your guns pointing forward. So I'm going to be using this one, despite the fact that these Gen 1 plastics are actually not nearly as sharp and crisp, like I said earlier, compared to the new set. I mean, they've got some unfortunate indentations in the center of it, and that new set is just a lot sharper and crisper when you have a closer look at it. But because of the angled nature, I'm going with the older Volt gun batteries for mine. And then a little vehicle that I personally just love, the Valkyrie rotor. It does look a bit futuristic for a Victorian era setting, but I absolutely love it because the Imperium is always a bit more on the cutting edge. And like I said, I did manage to magnetize it. However, drilling through the hull to install a 2mm magnet meant that I actually got into the flight stem position as well. That normally shouldn't be an issue to glue it back together, but it's just something of note. And the weapon system themselves actually only took 1mm magnets on there if you wanted to be embedded in the plastic. However, that bond is more than strong enough because it is a very small part, and that allows you to change out the different rocket batteries in Sturmklaue. I'm gonna really have fun with painting this one, especially because that cockpit is nice and shiny, so a lot of detailing work can be added there. I always include a few size comparisons as well. This ship is classed as a Mass 4 one, and if you compare it to the Reaver, you can definitely see why it would be a Mass 4. However, the Scandinavian flagships do tend to be a bit on the smaller end of the scale of their mass line, so when comparing it with a Mass 3 from the Imperium, it isn't massively larger than that one. And there we have it, that is the review of the Scandinavian Scions of Jutland set. The flagship itself definitely not quite as big as the Abydos set I reviewed earlier, but then again it does come with extra plastic parts and resin sprues as well in this box, so that all balances out. I hope you liked this little video review. If you did, make sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel for any future updates, and let me know in the comments what you think about this set and if you're planning to get it. I hope to see you in the next video. Bye!